Alright, I'm doing a quick drive-in chat because I have been trying to do videos. I videotaped a plan with me and a monthly planning thing, and for some reason my iMovie and my YouTube are not talking. So I decided to do a quick overview for self-published authors, or those that want to self-publish, on the process that I go through to get my books ready and up for publishing. I'm just not leaving a nail shop where I had my eyebrows waxed and mustache waxed and my face looks splotchy, and that's why. But this is not a beauty video. This is a video to talk about publishing and the process. So let's start with how I go through my process. I'll go through every step, and then leave any questions down below in the comments, and I will do my best to answer the ones that I can, or leave your email or email me at hildymcqueen.com, and I can reply to personal questions if they are longer. So let's start. Okay, I'm going to talk about a 40,000 word short book. So the process that I go through is I type the manuscript. First of all, I come up with a general idea. I am not an outliner, but I might have like a very loose outline, like scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. I know how the book is going to open usually, and I have an idea about how it's going to end, but I'm not talking about the writing process. I am talking right now about the publishing process. I will do another one on how to write when you're a pantster, but this one is about the publishing process. So for a 40,000 word book, it takes me about approximately 3 weeks to write it. I do an average of between 2,000 and 3,000 words a day, so sometimes I can get done quicker. Other times it takes me a full about 3 weeks. So if I do 12,000, well, 4 weeks, because I average between 10 and 12,000 words, or 10 and 15,000 words a week. Okay, so let's say it's done. 40,000 words, bam, the book is written. So I type the end and then I put it away, usually till the next day. I usually let a day pass between when I type the end and I go and go back through it. So then it takes me, again, a 40,000 word book, takes me about 2 days to go back through and do rewrites, make sure the chapters are in order, like chapter 1, chapter 2, something simple like that. And then once that's all done, I send it to my beta, and I call her my beta reader, and I don't really know all the technical terms, so I might be using the wrong terms. Now, I found her through trial and error. She was an avid reader who was frustrated with reading some books, and we talked about, and I knew her husband. I used to work with her husband. And anyway, so through trial and error, I did find her. I've tried several others, and she's the one that works out the best because she is cruel, evil and cruel, and I love it. She will not cut me any kind of slack at all. So anyway, she goes through it and does a little bit of proofreading. Mostly tells me this guy sucks, this girl needs to do this, and this part would you consider this, and tells me about their personalities. And if she doesn't like the book, she will tell me I don't like the book. Now, I do take her opinions into consideration. Her proofreading and corrections are always right. That part's always right, but I don't always change my story. She might not like the heroine, but that's fine. I do. So, and I think the heroine's fine. I have refined some characters a little bit based on what she tells me. Again, by the time I get it back from her, it's usually a week has passed. So at that point, I go back through the book again and make the corrections, especially the proofreading. I take, like I said, her ideas into consideration, may or may not make those changes. And at that point, I polish it, I listen, and then so I read it one more time. I'd make all the changes, save it, and then get up the next day and read one more time. Usually it takes me 1 day. Okay, so I read it one more time, save it, and then do whatever writing I'm doing on the next book, because I'm already usually working on my next book. So I come back the next day and read it one more time. Sit down and just read the whole thing. I don't do the Kindle thing. Some people send it to their Kindle. Other people print it out. I don't do that. I read it one more time and I usually catch something. I'm not a good grammar person, so I know that there's going to be grammatical errors. So I'm just reading it for story content, for continuity, to make sure eye colors, hair colors, and all that kind of stuff. People are not at the window when they were already naked in the bed, Well, that doesn't happen that much, but anyway, because my books don't have that many naked people, not the ones I'm writing, the Western ones. So then I am done reading at that time. time, I save it again, and then it goes to my editor. Now, my editor keeps it usually for 2 weeks. I don't know. In the meantime, I'm still writing the other book, or about done with that one, and starting the next process. So he keeps it, he does it, he returns it back to me. When he comes back from him, he sends me a list of every change that he made. I go through the document one last time. I go through and accept or reject changes that he makes. Usually I accept them all because they're usually commas and that kind of stuff, which I know nothing about. So he does, so I trust him. I just don't know enough. I got A's in English. I don't understand why it's such a problem for me, commas and all that. But anyway, I digress. So let's say I approve all his changes, and then make sure that it reads well. I save it again, and then I listen to it. In Word, if you highlight a chapter and hit Option F2 or some one of those things, Option F, yeah, look it up. You hit one of 2 buttons, it reads it to you out loud, so I listen to it and follow along one last time. At this point, once I'm done listening to it, I send it to proofreaders. I usually have 2 or 3 of them that will do it for me, so I send it to one of them or 2 of them. Usually I send it to one of them. And so when I send it to the person to proofread, then I go back and work on my novel. At this point, I already have the book usually up for pre-order, so it's I upload this manuscript because it's usually done right. I format my own. I usually do 1.5 spacing. The chapters are flush left. The first line of every chapter is indented by 0.03, so less than half an inch. And it's what do you call that? Adjusted so that it is right. It is justified, so it's square on both sides. And that's the manuscript that I upload to Kindle. If all goes to hell, it will look fine. It's gonna look fine when it's purchased and read by readers. So I'm not too worried about it. You know how it's gonna look. So once the proofreader gets it back to me or sends me an email saying I couldn't find any errors or anything like that, at that point then I know it's done. I may or may not send it to a formatter. I know that formatting is not that hard, and sometimes I don't send books to the formatter because I know that the way I do it in WordPerfect, or not WordPerfect, I am dating myself, in Microsoft Word, it's fine. It's gonna look fine. But if I wanted to, she does all that fancy stuff, like the chapters are pretty and the title is pretty and all that. So I send it off to her. And I have her, in this case, because this specific series is going to be in print, I have her formatted for ebook and for print. So she does it all at the same time. And, I hope that I have the final back in time for when it releases. If it doesn't, I'm not going to freak out about it because I know it looks fine because I preview it in KDP and all that. So now, the covers I had done ahead of time. I already know what the series is going to be all about, so I had all those done. So usually that is, by the time it comes back from the proofreader, that is the end pretty much of my books. I have a review team of about, I think it's 15 people. They get a EPUB, Mobi, or usually sometimes PDF, but I don't do PDFs that often. They get a copy of the book to read and proofread so that they can review it when it goes live. And that is about it, and so let me go over costs because I don't know what everybody pays. I will tell you about how much I pay because it does vary depending on the length of the book, how many corrections my editor has made, whether or not he had to have 5 or 6 drinks while he's trying to edit my writing, and then it also depends on the formatter is the same way. So I will give you a round idea. I have an amazing cover artist. Her name is Dar Albert, and she is with Wicked Smart Designs. So my covers, depending on whether I'm getting just e-print and book and all that, I don't know, less than $200 or so, I think. I don't know. I'm guessing because, like I said, it depends on what she does for me. Then the editing depends on the length, but it can go up as much as up to $400. And then refuse me, she doesn't charge me anything. She refuses to take payment, so I send her Starbucks cards. And then my proofreader also gets Starbucks cards, and then at Christmas they get a Coach or a Kate Spade purse from me for the work they do throughout the year. The formatting can cost also between $100 to $200, and I don't know if I'm thinking of any other expenses that you have to pay for. So usually cover artist, editor, or editors. I'm thankful to God that my editors most of them are free. I have 2 proofreaders, a story editor, and a senior editor. Out of those 4, one of them I pay him well because he is awesome. So yeah, so that's about my book process. In total, I think it ends up taking about almost 2 months, so be prepared for that. And just to let you know, if you're just starting out, be prepared to, I'm not going to say lose money, but if you break even on your first couple books, you're doing good, but most of the time you don't. What you're looking for is to start getting your books up there. You pay for these things and get the best things, best people that you can afford, a cover artist that you can afford. Make sure, don't be in a hurry, because I made that mistake when I first started. Don't be in a hurry. Make sure you go through all the steps necessary so that your book is as clean as possible, because you don't want to get a reputation for, having shabby work and having books that are not clean. So make sure you go through all those steps. Investigate your genre. Make sure you understand your genre, because some genres allow for certain things that other genres don't. And last but not least, take your time, listen to it, read it. Don't be offended by what people say when they're editing, because they have your best interest in hand. And just have fun with it. Once you get your backlist in, you have your series in, you're about 4 books in, put the first book on sale for a week so that it'll kickstart your series, and at that point you'll start making the money back. So just know it's going to be an investment not only in time, but an investment in money and emotions. So that's it for now. I will do another video to talk about my writing process and how that goes. Bye.